What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Flippin Bats. It is Tuesday, meaning it is Ohtani Tuesday here today. We got this week in Shohei Ohtani news, a take it or leave it segment, and top 5 most disappointing teams now that we're after the trade deadline and good to go. This is going to be a lot of fun. It is showtime.
It's a blowout, 8th inning, 10-3. Bases are loaded for Verlander, who waits out a 3-0 pitch. He swings, and it's a high fly ball, deep center field. It is gone! Home run! And a huge bat flip to celebrate. All right, Ben, start the show already.
What's up, my friends? This is going to be a fun one. We are also just days away now from the Field of Dreams game in Iowa. I will be on site bringing you guys along with me. It is going to be a blast. But for this Tuesday show, I'm rocking the shirt. You know what time it is. It is time for my favorite segment this week in Shohei Ohtani news. This one is going to be a blast. Shohei tied Ichiro for all-time home runs, second all-time in Japanese-born player history. Also, he had another good outing on the mound, and we are going to talk about his Cy Young potential. But let's get into it by talking about what he did over the last week, hitting 2 home runs in a game and tying Ichiro for the second most home runs by a Japanese-born player in the history of baseball, 117. Now, Shohei did it in his 5th MLB season, one of which was shortened due to COVID. Ichiro didn't reach 117 home runs until his 17th season, while Matsui did not reach 117 until his 7th. Now, Hideki Matsui is the leader. Shohei Ohtani is 5 years in, already at 117 home runs. Now, admittedly, Ichiro has said, and Ichiro is an unbelievable hitter. And if you combine his hits here in Major League Baseball and his hits in Japan, well, you have a new all-time hits leader. But for the record books in Major League Baseball, you can't do that. But Ichiro himself has said, look, if I wanted to hit more home runs, I could have. I think Ichiro had a little more weight there. I think he was serious. His job was to get on base. His job was to score runs. He did that. He didn't try and hit balls out of the yard. I have seen Ichiro hit BP, by the way. There is a lot of pop in there. But Shohei has already reached the mark. Ichiro hit 117 home runs in just 5 MLB seasons, one of which was shortened, and others which he wasn't able to be himself. You know, early on in his career, it was, okay, Shohei, you're going to pitch one day, and then you're going to have 2 off days, and then you can hit for a day or 2. And then before your next start, we're going to have to sit you again, and then you'll finally be able to pitch. But you can't hit while you're pitching. It was just a nightmare when he first came over. They didn't let him be him. Now he's able to be him. And he's tying records with Ichiro. So pretty cool there. A pretty big moment, I think. You know, Ichiro and Hideki Matsui were the 2 leaders. Hideki Matsui, obviously, number 1. Ichiro, number 2. And now in just 5 seasons, Shohei ties that mark that it took Ichiro 17 seasons to get to. So pretty cool moment there. 2 homers in a game got that done for him. But next up, I want to talk about that game where he hit 2 home runs. In that game, the Angels hit 7 home runs as a team. 7. And Shohei was 2 of them. And I touched on this just a little bit Thursday. But please, Angels, Artie Moreno, Perry Manassian, where's the help? Shohei, Mike Trout, they need help, and they need help desperately. You have a guy out there in Shohei hitting 2 home runs, throwing 7 scoreless innings pretty much every time he's gone out this year. And they're just not winning baseball games. The Angels are not a good team, and I am just so sick and tired of seeing this happen. I tweeted this the other day. Shohei Ohtani hit 2 home runs. The team hit 7 home runs as the Angels lose to the Oakland Athletics 8-7. tying the record for most home runs in one game all time in a loss. Now, it broke the Angels record. That became the record for most home runs all time in a game in Angels history in which they lost. I feel like I can only beat this drum but so many times, but there are flaws in this organization and how it's run, and I don't know the answers, but Shohei and Mike Trout, clearly it's not, okay, well, Shohei and Mike Trout playing together isn't the answer. Maybe you need to figure it out and get prospects for one of them. No, owners are billionaires. And if they're ever at a point where they're saying, well, you know, that contract's a lot and we have that contract, I don't care. You have two of the greatest players to ever play. One, Mike Trout, who is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. And two, Shohei, for who a year and a half has put together the best year and a half we have ever seen. If this keeps up, he could be and will be one of the greatest of all time. So how do you capitalize on this? The Angels need to figure out how to capitalize on it, because poor Mike Trout's been doing it for a decade. Nothing to show for it besides one playoff series in which they were swept by the Royals. And now Shohei, who isn't there winning ball games because the team around him just isn't built properly. The pitching's not there. The bullpen's not there. You know, even the start of the year, the lineup 6 through 9 in the lineup was not really competitive. This tweet from the other day, final A's 3, Angels 1. Shohei Ohtani has lost 3 consecutive starts, and he received exactly 1 combined run of support while pitching in those 3 starts. 1 combined run. The Angels have lost 47 of 67, and Major League Baseball is still going to make them play 58 more of these. 47 of 67 they have lost. Shohei has been out there dominating on the mound. Dominating. And they've given him 1 run of support in 3 starts. Now, here's where it gets frustrating. Obviously, the team's not very good this year. But Shohei, being Shohei, takes it upon himself and blames himself. Where I drew the line is Shohei coming out and saying, you know what? The reason we lost is because I didn't do enough at the plate. This is the game he was pitching, and he pitched well. That same day, he came out, the reason we didn't win is I didn't hit well enough. No. That just grinded my gears because the Angels aren't doing enough. Shohei shouldn't have to be saying that. Shohei Ohtani on why he never wants to take a day off. If I'm healthy enough to play, I want to be out there. It feels like I can't really afford to miss games at this point. Frustrating. Very, very frustrating. So please, figure it out over the course of the next year, because Shohei needs to get paid. The Angels should pay him. We've never seen a talent like this, but he also deserves to win. And he deserves to be on a team where he can go out there and throw 7 innings and punch out 11 guys, and maybe he'll go 0 for 4 at the plate. But guess what? The team can at least score 2 or 3 runs and allow him to get the win on the mound. Please, get him help. I said it Thursday. I'll say it again here on This Week in Ohtani News, because it needs to be said. And I don't know who in the front office is going to listen. Probably nobody. But please, for the sake of my sanity, Shohei's, and the world that just wants to see them in the playoffs, please get some help. And please do it the right way. Just do it. But I talked a lot about Shohei and his dominance on the mound. And that leads to my last point here. Shohei Ohtani is legitimately a Cy Young candidate. Now, is he a front runner to this point in the year? No. There's a few names that come to mind. But this is the pitcher we're talking about. He's a Cy Young caliber talent. He could be a Cy Young finalist, which is 3. I would put him in the top 5 right now. I think the Cy Young finalists as of right now are probably Justin, Dylan Cease, Shane McClanahan. But I think Shohei's in that top 5 conversation. So many times we get caught up in thinking of Shohei Ohtani, the hitter. And oh, by the way, he pitches. No. This is Shohei Ohtani, the hitter, with 24 home runs, and he's a Cy Young caliber pitcher. Earlier this week, there was a tweet. Shohei Ohtani joined Nolan Ryan this week. You might have heard of him. Nolan Ryan this week as the only pitchers in Angels history to record 10-plus strikeouts in 6 consecutive pitching appearances. Ryan had an Angels record 7-game streak in 1977 and a 6-game streak spanning 1972 to 1973. So Shohei's streak as well came to an end. So he had the streak of 6 where he tied Nolan Ryan. So it's just him and Nolan Ryan in the record books for consecutive outings with 10-plus strikeouts, double digits. He is now, as of his last start, a qualified starting pitcher in terms of innings pitched. So he can qualify for the ERA title. He can qualify for all of those stats that a starting pitcher needs to get to innings-wise to be able to do it. Let's dive into those stats that he is now qualified for. In the American League, first in strikeout percentage, first in strikeout to walk percentage, second in expected ERA, xERA, which is expected ERA with a bunch of other variables that come into place, park, batters faced, all of that stuff. But there's more analytics involved. Defense, your team's defense. And expected ERA, Shohei Ohtani is second. FIP, second in all of baseball. F-WAR, which is WAR, just Fangraphs WAR, third. And eighth in the American League in ERA. This is a Cy Young caliber talent we're seeing on the mound. And I get a little frustrated when it comes to the MVP conversation because, you know, I feel like I'm all the time advocating, like, look, let's not overlook it here. This guy is the most valuable player. How do you overlook that you have a Cy Young caliber pitcher on your team and a guy hitting 24 bombs and say that there's somebody more valuable? Yeah, his team's not very good. I don't care. This is baseball. The team, when it comes to MVP, is irrelevant. This is baseball. You can't make a team good on your own. But when he's doing both, the Angels are much better. When he's pitching and hitting, the Angels are a lot better. How do you say somebody is more valuable? I see what Aaron Judge is doing. He's on pace to break the Yankees record. I understand that. But where I get frustrated is when you start comparing the two and I say, oh my God, Shohei is the MVP. Everyone will say, Aaron Judge has 43 home runs and he's hitting almost 300. And look at Shohei. He has 24 and he's hitting around 250. Like, what is your comparison there? And it's like people aren't even, all you're looking at is the offensive stats. And nobody brings up the pitching stats because it doesn't fit the narrative that Aaron Judge isn't the MVP. And you can't blame him for that. He just doesn't do both. Shohei is doing both at an elite level. He's legitimately a Cy Young candidate. So for the argument of, so we're just going to hand the MVP award to Shohei Ohtani every year because he pitches and hits? No. But if he has a 2.8 ERA every year and hits over 30 home runs, yes, and he should be. So yes, first in strikeout percentage now, eighth in ERA now that he qualifies, second in expected ERA, and oh, by the way, he's 32nd best qualified hitter in all of baseball in terms of WRC+, and his 24 home runs rank him 5th in all of the American League. That's an MVP. So congratulations to Shohei, now tied for second all-time in home runs by a Japanese-born player, tied with Ichiro. He now trails only Hideki Matsui. And another good week for Shohei Ohtani. And that does it for this edition of This Week in Shohei Ohtani News.